Why? This is extremely weird. Wow. This is deeply frightening, I have to say. So, I did want to add one fun little thing, a lay epic meme, as one would. And totally not to celebrate me getting a big tweet. You know, I'm still, you know, who doesn't get a little giddy when a tweet gets like 50,000 likes or whatever? Anyway, put out this banger at 5:12 a.m. Because my sleep schedule has been garbage. And it's a very good meme. But I want to talk about the meme. You know, J.K. Rowling when the actual attack on women's sex-based rights show up. And there you go. So J.K. Rowling, as you all know, a steadfast feminist, maybe the world's greatest, fighting relentlessly, not against trans people, but in favor of the sex-based rights of women, of cis women, presumably, but I don't think she's capable of using that term. Now, she's been a bit dead on Twitter since the beginning of May, interestingly. All she's really done lately is retweet these cringy little, like, TERF brunches. Ladies who... and it's like all these ancient, like... Listen, the funniest thing that I have to say now and forever about TERFs is that if you went on Twitter and took a picture of them and said, you think trans women aren't women? Well, what about this, huh? Can you tell with her? And said that to a bunch of TERFs, all the other TERFs would clock them in a million ways, you know? It's when you present anyone who's not a 10 out of 10 Giga Stacy to a TERF and imply they're trans, they'll tear each other apart. It's phenomenal. In very misogynistic ways, too. It's funny, you know, when TERFs attack the appearances of trans women, they do it in the exact same way that people attack the appearances of butch cis women. You know what I mean? Like, it's very misogynistic, you know, like, wow, I thought we were feminists here. I guess we're just okay, like, engaging in this behavior, but yeah. Anyway, all J.K. Rowling's really done lately. See, it's all these... This is very weird, by the way. This is extremely weird. Wow. This is deeply frightening, I have to say. Okay. All right. Well. But that's hashtag JKR Ladies Lunch, hashtag Ladies Who Lunch, hashtag Sex Matters, Women's Lunch Permission Office, hashtag Women's Rights Network, JKR Ladies Lunch, Picnic Lunch, and Bath. Shout out to the JKR Ladies Lunch today. We hear some had bubbly. Hashtag Beltane, hashtag respect my sex if you want my ex. Hashtag respect my ex. I love this, by the way. Again, we're very principled feminists. Okay. Now we've got... God, I want to be misogynistic, but I have to rise above. I got in trouble the last time I did that. Really, though, respect my sex if you... Yeah, okay. Is that the same group of people? Oh, all old British people look the same. Much laughter, sisterhood, and seditious plotting from... Safe for Work, Nottingham? Southwest Nottingham? Is this a British... It's a British thing? I guess some people here aren't like 100. They're all kind of old. Not really. A lot of them are. I'm negatively disposed towards all these people. They all look ugly. Bat Canary. You shouldn't shame the appearances of these people. Until you remember that if this was a group of trans women who looked literally identical to this group, it would get passed around TERF circles and every element of their appearance would be ruthlessly torn into. In which case, once you add to that factor, I think it's you can say whatever you want. This is, keep in mind, literally a hate group meetup. These people are meeting exclusively based around their anti-trans ideology. It's not like this is some incidental thing. You know what I mean? Like they're organizing around that idea extensively. When you say they're ugly on the inside. What's outside is incidental and also ugly. So why am I talking about this? Well, part of it's funny. Secondly, I think it's really important to reiterate the fact that TERFs don't exist. They're not real. I feel like it should be more evident now that, like, in the most powerful country on earth, the United States, the greatest attack on actual sex-based rights for women has taken place in the past half century. Like, undeniably. It's not even close. It's like, very, very, very clearly, like, this is literally the sex-based rights thing, whether or not you can, even have an abortion. It's a sex-based thing. But does J.K. Rowling say anything? No. Now, will she say something eventually? Maybe. But I ask you, okay? If J.K. Rowling feels an impetus drive to comment on trans athletes in the United States or to intervene in the most, just minimal shit when it comes to trans people, but stays silent over this, do you think she cares about women? No, I don't believe TERFs are real, because I've never met a TERF who actually cared about women's rights, who actually was a feminist. There's an archetype of a TERF, which is this radical second-wave feminist who is usually pretty anti-male, fervently pro-women's liberation, and doesn't like trans women and feels trans men are lost sisters, because of the political biases of their bloody blah. But I have not met, in all the time that I've done this, a TERF who was actually a feminist. They're just conservatives who frame their attacks on trans people as being a, element to defend women. But to me, if all your feminism is we need to protect our bathrooms from trans women, how does that make you any more of a feminist than white Southerners 100 years ago lynching black men to protect white women from them rapists? Because was that feminism? Like, well, obviously not. Clearly not. Is it really like if the only way in which your feminist politics are being evoked are that you want to brutally attack a minority and frame it as a defense of women, congratulations. You're exactly the same as the Brexit types who were saying that Muslim rape gangs were attacking women and therefore they needed to cut off all immigration. Listen, defending women has been like the excuse every reactionary group has ever thrown out there when it comes to the persecution of a minority. They do this every time. So, again, I don't think TERFs are real. I genuinely do not believe that. I don't think it's a group that exists. Maybe there are like 5. But every time someone seems to be a TERF, like on social media, some British whatever, and then you look at their likes for 5 minutes, and they're buddies with every anti-feminist conservative in their fucking district. Every time. Like, with basically no exceptions. You look at who they actually pal around with, and they're like just not even regular conservative, like far-right conservative. The whole TERF thing is just an aesthetic smokescreen meant to obfuscate the issue. Conservatives signal boost TERFs because TERFs beg the question and play, what do you call it? What do you call it when you, concern troll. They concern troll. If the rhetorical line from conservatives is uniform, if it's just conservatives saying, we hate trans people, gender equals sex, rah, that's one thing to fight against. But then you have this additional fake political group that's made manifest to act as pawns, essentially, to distract and to divide. and those are the TERFs, and those are the ones that are supposed to pull off trans skeptical liberal feminists and make them conservative. Additionally, it takes more time to argue against TERF positions, which is why J.K. Rowling is like the grand wizard of transphobia, in spite of the fact that she's not a politician and ostensibly, explicitly, though obviously she really is, isn't a conservative. She doesn't even market herself as anti-trans, because she's dishonest, of course, but isn't it interesting that the forefront of anti-trans advocacy would be coming from a person who isn't even willing to acknowledge that they're an anti-trans advocate? Like, doesn't that make like, that's a little weird, right? I think it's a little bit strange. At any rate, I'm glad you like the Grand Wizard thing, by the way. I felt very clever saying that. Yeah, it's just the reason I'm really, really like hammering on this, okay, is because I don't want a repeat of the shit that happened with J.K. Rowling, with me epically owning her and making her cry and shit herself and piss. I don't want that to happen again. I want people to understand this is just another rhetorical strategy, you know? This really is no different than the conservatives back in the 1960s, whose private internal position, the thing they felt in their heart, was that it's fun to lynch black people. But outwardly instead say, actually, I think it's in the best interests of black people to be limited to their own institutions because I acknowledge the fact that white people are racist and oftentimes feel as though black people would be better off if they could be kept in their own social spaces. It's the same argument we heard from Stryker back when we did that 2v2 debate with Destiny. Remember? When he was saying, actually, it's for the good of black people. You know, Mark Collett did the same thing talking with Rose Wrist and Mouth the Infidel, the debate we looked over just a couple of days ago. You guys understand the point that I'm getting at here, right? I just want it to be understood. It is a completely disingenuous, fake belief system. It is not real. It just doesn't exist. You have conservatives who attack trans people by saying trans people are degenerate, and you have conservatives who attack trans people by saying that, you know, they pose a threat to women, and actually, why can't they just be very feminine men, and blah, blah. We know the transphobic TERF talking points, you know. You get what I mean? Okay, I hope you get what I mean. Are the rolling paper masks their KKK hood equivalent? Yeah, probably. Here, let's enjoy a little more. By the way, all these pictures were retweeted on the 1st of May. This is like some big, like, England-wide get-together. You see? This one's got a dog, at least. That's nice. I think that's nice. What is with the grain? Do they have, like, a smoke machine here? Why is everything so desaturated in this picture? Is it just the natural ooze of transphobes? What's making UK foggy as hell? From a distance of 3 feet? Okay. We've retweeted some cool sculptures, so that's nice, you know? What do we got here? Oh no! Why? What does the X mean? They mean their vote. Respect my sex if you want my ex, like the vote, like for me to vote for your candidate. Okay, this looks like a shit picnic. Come on. You can't cook, you're all women. We know they have to be women. That's a pre-requirement. Stop. Hey, listen, if they're obsessed with being girls, oh God. I'm sorry, every time, I know it's incredibly fucking mean, and I want you all to know that I would never feel this way if these weren't literally hate group meetups. But every time I look at these photos, you can literally see, like, multiple women who, if you just posted their picture to TERF Twitter, the TERFs would spend, like, the rest of the day calling them, like, an auto-gynophile who will never pass and who's, like, a fake caricature of women and blah-de-blah. Like, I know, like, it's just... I hate them so much. What do we have here? Oh, Allison Bailey. Oh, okay. Well, great. When you canvas everyone with you, needs to wear a Vosh mask. Yeah, it'll be a Vosh mask and a Chance XL dildo with a strap to adhere it. Very good. And now I'm just scrolling through J.K. Rowling's Vosh said the AGP word. Everyone knows about the auto-gynophile conspiracy theory. Whatever it's called. This person blocked me. Okay, that's enough. Stop.